Wow. No, don't close the door. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. This is going to be controlled chaos as always. The wife is home because it's spring break, but she has elected that I still have to babysit the kids while doing the podcast. Cool. Whatever. Here we go. Dave Ring. I'm not Dave Ring. I pointed at myself and said Dave Ring. We're 0 for 1. I'm Christian Pedersen. On the left here is Bode DeSilva wearing a Holy Sheets shirt, which is easy enough for me to say if I say it very slowly. On the right there is Dave Ring showing off that he has a legal permit for the Padres guns that he is showing off. We never plan anything. To say that we planned something on this show would be a step in the right direction. Like I planned on turning on your mics there.
I approve.
I was going to say, everything running.
So here we go. Let's talk about what we got on the show today. We're going to talk about our top 10 as always, although it feels like it's now top 2, next 15, because there's 2 teams that I think are headed towards a collision course in the finals, and the rest of them are...
Why even have 8 teams in open? Let's just have 2.
Just make 2 teams play each other like a best of 7
I like.
series.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I like that. Let's do that for all open finals.
Yeah.
A best of 7 football series.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 months long.
just watch Lincoln drag Cathedral until there's physically nobody left on Cathedral's team. I'm here for it. All right, let's start with our top 10s. The San Diego Union Tribune top 10 that comes out at the beginning of the week is a good balance to our top 10s that come out at the end of the week, because those are more predictionary, these are more reactionary. But also, Bodie might make his top 10 on Monday, and then if he's talking about it now, it might be out of date.
My favorite.
That's the standard runner show here. Bodie DeSilva, let's start with you.
Yeah, so Granite Hill's at number 1. Not that I'm going to tell everyone to vote for them at number 1, but I think at this point they've made it very clear. They were preseason number 3 for me, so not too far out of the mix. Point Loma's there at number 2. So for me, I moved them up this week. They had a big tie yesterday, which hate a tie, but went on the road in Eastlake and tied them there. But Point Loma for me started the year, I think 8 or 9. They've just continued to move up. A bunch of key wins there coming off last year's big title. Carlsbad at number 3. San Marcos up to number 4 for me this week. St. Augustine at 5. Torrey Pines number 6. Patrick Henry 7. Rancho Bernardo number 8. Cathedral Catholic 9 and Eastlake 10. Last week, the Lions really didn't tell us much. A lot of 2-2s, a lot of 3-1s. It's tough without having a real championship in that tournament anymore. Nothing they can do. It just kind of limits on how many games teams can play. So we're all jumbled, but I think that's going to make for fun league races, and then eventually when we get into playoffs.
Dave Ring from DR Player Development, what's happening on your top 10?
I'm feeling really spring breaky with my sunglasses on.
Dude, Cabo, bro. Cabo, bro.
Ready.
I don't know what Cabo is.
And by the way, I'm out next week.
You're out next week?
Yeah.
Like IL out, or like
I'll be
like...
mahaloing and alohaing.
What I would give, I'm fine with you. You have permission to miss next week's show since this is not a job.
I'm like
for
halfway
you.
there already.
But could you send us your top 10 from a beach?
Yeah,
just a pre-recorded.
I was thinking like you guys could FaceTime me and like put me in the seat over here.
You know what? That would be better production value than, I forget who we had on from Country Day and Bishops.
Dude, we've done that.
Frankie Giacalone. We had
totally.
him just over speakerphone. Middle of the
I'd be down
day.
for that.
No, but send us a pre-recorded Mahalo from the beach there of your top 10.
You could play it in front of the iPad.
It'd be very
right?
Bill Walton-esque.
Totally.
Just you rambling about the spirit of nature, and Point Loma baseball reminds me of this time that
It's a good time to be alive. Padres are doing well.
Let's talk top 10 then.
It's crazy, bro. What a time. I got a little bit different top 10 here. Granted, it is my number 1, but I'm going based on strength of schedule, and I know some teams have been getting really beat up on right now, especially like Eastlake has played some really tough games. They've got a couple extra losses, but you know, I've got Granite number 1, Saints number 2, Point Loma 3, Cathedral, in my opinion, still a strong number 4. Carlsbad, a really tough team, number 5, Patrick Henry 6. They're a team that's had a couple tough losses. I think they're going to really show us that they're going to be in that close to that 20 win team range. And Torrey Pines. They're
wait.
my.
There she is, everybody. Say hi, Coach Pedersen.
Oh, flip the camera. Nope. Sesame Street action, and Kingsley loves it in here. And I've got San Marcos, number 7. I think you mentioned, Bodie, they're in a little bit higher for you than me, but
I had them up to number 4. But, yeah, that league is just going to be loaded. So
I personally hadn't had them in my top 10. So to put them down to, into number 7, I think is a good slot there. Coronado for me is going to be, San Marcos was number 8.
Oh, San Marcos, yeah. All right.
Coronado's number 9 at 11-4 for me. They're really a strong team at 11 wins. I think that's a reasonable record for them to be in the top 10. And Eastlake is a really tough team. They're my number 10 team. UC fell out after 3 tough losses last week, and
that to me just makes UC even more interesting.
Right.
Because adversity is usually a part of a season. So does this
Exactly.
start a longer skid? Or is this something where they are able to pump the brakes, right the ship? Bodie, last week without you here, we talked about teams on that bubble that maybe are new teams, that Southwest El Centro, that Claremont, that there's some other schools that are for Claremont being the specific one this year, I feel like Claremont this year is Bishops every year in football.
yeah,
If they play their best game, they are one of the top 10 teams. Like if Christian Garcia is on the mound blowing people away with his fastball and their team gets him 3 runs.
Yeah.
That I think I'm not going to say that every time beats Granite, but I think that goes toe to toe with Granite.
It's a lot of Canyon Crest with Sam Garrawal a couple years ago.
So what do you are there other teams beyond Claremont that you have on that bubbly sort of that you're interested in?
I think Madison is one that comes to mind for me. They've had such a good program for a while now. Couple past years, they've taken a little step back, but they're having another really good year. I think Escondido is a team that people should be aware of. Mission Bay is a team that people should be aware of. You mentioned Southwest El Centro, they're up there. And really San Pasqual too. San Pasqual's, their strength of schedule really matches up with a lot of the top teams in the county, so that'll carry them a long way as we get closer to playoffs.
Deal. Let's talk game balls. Dave Ring, what do you got for us in terms of shout-outs, game balls, and highlights from this week in San Diego high school baseball?
Listen, Granite Hills, they're in the position they're in because of Luke Bailey. He's got 5 wins, a very impressive arm, 1.21 ERA. He's faced a ton of really tough lineups and shut them down, and I think he deserves a game ball. Start the year here at 5 wins. That's a really impressive line. Same with Ryan Popkins for Saints. He's also got 5 wins, 29 Ks in 5 innings. Every year you can rely on him and Grayson Bowles to really be anchoring the top of that rotation. And Ryan doesn't get enough credit. I mean, he's built, man. The guy's like 6 foot, 185 pounds. You're going to hear about him a lot at the next level. Derek Taylor, Ramona, he's got 16 hits in 10 games. It's a 500 average still. I mean, listen, he's got 6 doubles.
Ramona might need to be added to that list of schools on that bubble where they have a if the Ramona team is the offense, where I talk about Claremont, and their pitching being the scenario where if Ramona hits as well as they if all of it, Kingsley, I'm trying to make a really good Instagram clip right now, and you're assaulting one of our hosts. If everybody on Ramona's team hits as well as everybody is capable of, to me, that becomes a very hard one-game set to stop.
Especially when they're at home. If you've seen a game there, you know the ball flies, and even really
elevation, man.
Even really good pitchers can see their stuff get flown away there.
Yeah, and that's a home field advantage type of park. If you know how to play there, you know how to hit in your park, it really becomes an advantage.
Can I just this will be the last random interjection I have. You talk home field advantage, Dave and I talked last week about San Marcos having a home field advantage because of their left field porch. And somebody jumped into the Instagram comment section and was like, oh, but correction, they had to win on the road at LCC. And we didn't say last year's team was nasty. Yeah. They had the clutch pitching. They were great. What's his name? Dufek's kid. What was Dufek's kid? I'm awful. Alec? Something like that, maybe? apologies for names being flushed out, but he had some of the nastiest relief pitching appearances in playoff history.
Right.
Kyler
Dufek. My apologies,
Alec.
But
close.
yeah.
That's close.
Hey, that's real
It's
close
good.
given the circumstances.
I like that.
But no, you still have a home field advantage. Like you
Exactly.
still have a comically short porch. All right, Dave, back to you.
All right, I got one more game ball for Isaiah Saldivar in El Camino. He's got 22 hits in 13 games, 488 and 468 average. Also for hitting for 6 doubles in 13 games. I love to see these hitters with gap-to-gap power and high average. It's impressive to kind of get both these days. You don't see a lot of hitters that are really good with the bat-to-ball skill and the power. It tends to sometimes get sacrificed. Hitters tend to overswing, but I'm seeing a lot of guys this year that don't necessarily have a lot of home runs, but the doubles and the triples are up. And we'll talk a little bit about dingers in a sec, but it's good to see that bat control, especially against some of these tougher pitchers this year.
Bodie DeSilva, game balls, shout-outs. What do you got?
Yeah, some shout-outs. Mace Wheeler, we've talked about him. I think what's super impressive, a 703 on-base percentage, which you're not going to see every day. 15 walks and only has been struck out one time this year. So an
His numbers
CIF
are off the charts.
Yeah, an all-CIF guy last year certainly feels like that again. Colin Gallagher, we just talked about Madison a little bit. He's having a really good year. Pitching-wise, ERA's at .28. 4-0 there, 1 earned run in 25 innings with 35 strikeouts. So it's not just pitching to contact, doing a little bit of everything there. Carter Tucker out at Imperial, ERA of .49, 50 strikeouts in 28 and 2/3.
He's nasty.
Also has 6 extra base hits, so guy that can do everything there. And then some dual sport guys, got to give some love. Elijah Stevens has been a 2-time All-CIF guy in basketball. Also on the baseball field, 4 home runs this year and an ERA of .7. So guy that's
Not
really
that
carrying.
It is a culturally recent reference, but he gets the Dave Winfield Award.
Yeah, there we go. That's we have not had too many all CIF guys in baseball and basketball.
Chase Budinger, what? He didn't hit no home runs. Jalen Hands.
Volleyball
though. He wasn't out there hitting home runs. Jalen Hands, TJ Leaf. I didn't see you guys hitting home runs.
Next one here, Cody Capoletti. We saw anyone who followed football this year put up some huge numbers there. Second straight year where he's got his ERA under 1. He signed with St. Mary's, so great option there for Patrick Henry on the mound.
Yeah, he's a dog.
And then Brendan Lewis, guy who we've seen on the football field for Granite Hills, made so many big moments there. Now up to 11 career home runs, hitting .382 on the year. Another guy with an ERA of under 1, 41 strikeouts in 30 innings.
I think we can just start referring to him as B. Lou. I mean, don't have to say his full name.
We shall refer to him as 2-time CIF Section Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's on the way.
I'd love to say that there's more dual sport guys on the way. It seems like at times it kind of comes and goes, and a lot of guys are getting specialized in certain things. But
Mac Bingham.
There you go.
I miss Mac Bingham.
Yeah.
He just followed us on Instagram this week.
Took long enough.
I don't know what that is.
Mac Bingham.
Yeah. Graduated what? 2017?
He just finished playing last year. He was at LSU last year.
But
so.
what? Why now? I promise he unfollowed us for 5 years, but okay, bro. All right, that was all the game balls?
Yeah.
All right, well, we will get into Dave's dingers and all of that in just a second. I just wanted to say that for the people out there consuming all of this, we talked the first couple of weeks about numbers being a little wonky and all over the places. The sample sizes are now large enough that when we say guys are hitting 385, 400, 600 something slug, 800, those numbers that you are hearing are fantastic. They are against tough opponents. They are consistent all season long. And if you look up and down the numbers, we also have an interesting trend this year of there are a couple of guys like Jordan Niebla who are very high in pitching numbers and Jordan's top 10 in both strikeouts and RBIs.
Yep.
And there's a couple other guys this year who have been really good on the mound and hit really well. And I think that, to me, not quite as interesting as the two sport, but in a world where we see yes, Shohei is doing this, but it's now been over a year since Shohei's pitched, and like that might not really be a thing. Like he might have been a one-time streaking across the sky sort of star. So to see at the high school level, at least, guys that still are avoiding the temptation of specialization and turning into POs and being like, yes, I am this delicate little flower that only knows how to throw my two-seam and my cutter and just like I'm going to put my jacket on and go sit on the, like, but to be like, hey, great, you need me at third for 2 innings, you need me to throw for 2 innings, you need a home run later in the game. Like I am just a baseball player. Love that.
Yeah,
I'd be that all year long.
Come playoff time, I'd love to see one of these championship games where one of those guys is on the mound, maybe comes up with a big double down the line just to bring someone in where they kind of show in front of that big audience what they can do. So, we got enough of them. It feels like that's probably going to happen.
Granite Hills is going to be one of the teams in the finals, and we got to just pick who else. Like, are we asking Phoenix Brandt to both pitch and hit?
There
are
we go.
Asking Ian Fish to lay down a clutch double? Like,
is it Elijah Stevens?
Stevens? Like, we basically have already anointed the Granite's headed there, so now we just got to start the who's going to have the other half of that 7-game series.
Is Cathedral going to break their 8-year drought? Right? I mean, it's time.
We saw Darvish. Shohei Darvish pitched for the first time.
Yeah, with the transfer window there ending, Cathedral getting a big
couple
boost.
Guys came back.
What?
Yeah, 3 of them
transferred to Cathedral.
2 of them from Country Day.
This has never occurred. I know, Bodie, you are the king of stats. Maybe you can look it up. Like, when was the last time in an off season we had someone transfer to Cathedral for sports?
There's always a couple out too.
6 minutes ago. Deal. All right, Dave, what do we got on dingers?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch, man. There's a lot of players.
But seriously though, Shohei Darvish and company for Cathedral being off the transfer list, like we might be in 3 weeks from now talking about them as that number 2 team. They are going to be a very, very real playoff contender. All right, sorry, Dave.
Yeah, Patrick Henry just got Caden Henson back. He's an extremely good pitcher and hitter. I mean, Patrick Henry's loaded to finish the season here. I mean, when that happens for teams, it is a big boost because a lot of these players have been practicing with the team. They're there.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was leading up before the season, playing in those winter ball games, like they've been there, so they're just
ready.
Kind of
yeah, it's going to be cool to watch to see some of these players and the impact that they have. The dinger list still remains the same. Ethan De La Cruz? Mm-hmm. He's leading the county still with 6 at Oceanside. Evan Hall, San Marcos, he's up to 4 dingers. He's really, propelled himself into one of the strongest hitters in the county, really a big middle lineup guy. Elijah Stevens, like you said, he's got 4 home runs. That's basically second in the county now, and it's hitting .432. So
we got 1 guy at 6, 2 guys at 4,
and then a long list at 3,
6, 7, 8,
and then a
9,
long,
10,
yeah,
11,
exactly.
12, 13, 14, 15
yeah.
at 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a couple guys at 3, Rafi Dunn, Saints. He's a UCSD commit. One of the more twitchy hitters in San Diego. Alex Harrington, he just hit one against Eastlake yesterday over that big field, that big fence in left field. I mean, I know that field plays small, but he hit the ball to the moon yesterday. Don't forget he's a Stanford commit. Antoine Simpson over at Helix. He's got 3 bombs, a guy that'll put, he'll hit some pumps this year, so got to keep an eye on him. He'll put up, he could be a guy that we see in the double digits. A big-time hitter over at Mater Dei, Luke Sosa. He is a Chestnut Hill College commit. It's a D2 college. Congrats to you on that, by the way. He's got 3 now with 20 RBIs on the season, so he's their middle of the lineup. Hey, we need a guy to drive in runs. Go to Luke Sosa.
In keeping with the tradition of never being able to tell how big baseball players are based off of game changer footage that I get sent, I met Luke Sosa this week and I had no idea. He's 6'2".
He's a monster.
Those home runs that he hits are not wall scrapers. He's a monster. When he gets to college and packs on some adult muscle,
he is a monster. I agree, and he's got big time leverage and just all around an extremely hard worker. Richie Moore over at Del Norte, really good lefty bat. A guy to watch out for. He's extremely intelligent, baseball IQ type of hitter. Really knows he has a good feel for the barrel. Like I said, he's a guy that I want in my lineup because of that control of the barrel. Richie Moore, Del Norte, Brandon Landers, Santana. He's got 2 home runs. Dylan Perry, Classical Academy. He's up to 2. He's a Regis University commit. Regis usually really popular school for a lot of San Diego guys, and from what I hear, just a fantastic school to go to for 4 years and get your degree. So congrats to you, Dylan. And my last, Dave's Dingers. Home runs by Durante Martinez at Grossmont. He's got 2 big flies. They're hitting some balls hard over there. Just, at Grossmont, winning a few games and losing a lot of games right now, and kind of have a program that's in the middle of a change over there. They've got new coaching, and look to see Grossmont back and in the mix here soon.
Grossmont actually a big win over Cathedral yesterday, so we'll see how that goes for them. That was a surprising result as I was checking through. So,
yeah, what was the score of that? Because that's typically what happens with Cathedral. It's like, how do you lose to a team like Grossmont in the middle of the season here?
Yeah, that league with Saints and Patrick Henry and Point Loma is going to be.
You can't lose that game. Dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I hear you. That's they're 4-2 Grossmont in that one yesterday.
4-2 Grossmont. You don't score any runs.
Cathedral's got too much down that lineup to only get 2. So
that's exactly what I'm talking about in terms of. I mean,
you're talking about a reaction of.
That
is the analysis that people come here for.
Where is the offense, and why does it go away? And you know why?
To me, that's what makes baseball great, though. Is the fact that.
Yeah, but you know what makes baseball bad for them is switching the freaking lineup every day, and like it's a major league lineup, and putting different guys in different spots and moving everyone around and starting different guys on different days. It's just a cluster, bro. You're right, but you can't expect high school kids.
It's 2 sides of the same coin. It is bad for the game itself.
You can't expect high school kids to be able to perform under this circumstance. That's a big league type of environment.
I would say this based just solely off of my interactions with the spectrum of the high school coaching scene, is that high school baseball coaches, and this is not meant specifically at anyone, this is just kind of an aggregation of creating a aggregate person here. High school baseball coaches are the worst in all of the land at getting in their own way. And they tend to be the ones that push the hardest for, you got to only play baseball. You got to go play our AAU thing. And the basketball is also specifically bad at the AAU thing, but I think that basketball does let their kids kind of like bring, it just to me, it feels like there's a lot of cases of that, Dave, where you're like, X, Y, or Z coach has a couple of kids that he's mismanaging for whatever reason, a couple of kids that he's like, yeah, you're right. Why tweak just because it's a lefty? You don't need to fully tweak everything with a high school team. But I do think on the flip side that for me as a consumer, that kind of makes baseball sometimes crazy enjoyable, because for as much as we sit here saying it's exactly bad, Point Loma, Granite running away with it, we could get into a situation where the final is between Cathedral and Eastlake, and it all came down to the fact that just one bad day for one of those teams, one ball bounces weird, or one lineup.
Well, I'll guarantee that the Grossmont parents sitting in the stands were thinking they were going to lose that game 100%, right? And
I disagree.
What were the Grossmont players thinking, right?
Thinking, holy hell, 2 more innings, holy hell, one more inning.
If we do this, right?
I think to go to what you were just saying, like when we go to a football game, when we go to a basketball game, when you see kind of what the matchup is, it's just way more predictable than what we can get in baseball, where it's like we can think Granite's going to go there. I remember Lacosta's the 1 seed with Mickey Moniak. They lost 2 games in the course of 3 days, and they were done. Like it can roll like that. If your ace doesn't have it that day, if your lineup can't find a way to get a guy home, like it's just what makes it so great. Really,
overthinking and overdoing of it is a big part of it, because like we aren't going to go watch a Lincoln football game, and I keep bringing up Lincoln because they are right now the dominant one. And as much as we all want to like subtweet Jason Carter for his this, that, or the other, we're not going to go to a Lincoln football game where they all of a sudden are like, oh, I wasn't feeling Achille throwing the ball today, and so we're just going to run the wing tee.
Yeah,
like they're not. He knows what is successful for his team, and is going to shove that down everyone else's throat. If anything, he's going to simplify the playbook and be like, we are just going to absolutely expose
if
this one.
Roderick Robinson needs to carry the ball 25 times in the second half against Sierra Canyon.
Yeah. And this is, again, we're going on a way tangent. We're 25 minutes into the show, so anybody is still watching.
But this is what the people want. Give them what they want.
No, like baseball coaches sometimes do just veer away from, like, they get in their head and all that, and whatever. I will say one closing note on Grossmont. Jake Taylor needs to get brought up to the varsity team. That's all I have to say there. Other side, anybody else got anything else from this week?
No, I think the last thing I'll say, just as we're into league play, some really good games yesterday. I know it's tough to hit all of them, but Sage with a last inning win at El Camino, that's a big one. Del Norte taking down a really good Mount Carmel team.
They've had some huge wins this year.
Yeah, and then Westview, a big win at Fallbrook, come from behind there. They were down 4-0 after 2 innings.
Good for one. Always good for one win.
And then San Pasqual, that's the last one I'll highlight here. They're having a great year, 2-1 win over Mission Hill. So really deep leagues. I think that's the big thing. Excited to see between the Western and North County Coastal, like a lot of open division going to come out of those two, and it's going to be brutal as they get through these. Yeah,
like some of those that you mentioned league-wise have some D2 or 3 teams in them that very easily could be like a 2 or 3 seed or a 4 seed because they take some league L's, but then they drop down to those other.
And when the brackets come out, that's what I always look at. Like that, it might be that D2 team that's been tested in the Western. That's the team I'm going to take to go. That they know what it's like to face the top pitching, and when the time comes, they'll be ready.
All right, well,
listen, egos aside, I'm looking for the teams that are playing the best baseball and not playing with ego. And ego is like trying to hit home runs and not playing small ball and not scoring enough runs.
And you like the swag from teams that like to do that, but yes, you can overshoot it sometimes.
And I think that's where a lot of these teams can't afford to do that this year. They don't have the ability to overshoot things. They've got to play a little bit more small ball and add some of that flair in. And it's just that, I think, is going to be the biggest thing. Can you hit for average? Can you hit a double with a runner on first base and score him and win a one-run game? And you know, I'm excited to see like some of these borderline teams really like where these games are going to be played at the end. It's just really going to be tight for sure.
Well, so then it feels like we will say adios to everybody and that we will pick up next week with starting to talk about league a little bit.
Yeah.
But it'll be a very disoriented and minimalist podcast because obviously Dave will be mahaloing us. And
yeah, we got about one month of really good league play coming up.
And Bodie is a sport for being here, but we no longer fit as directly into Bodie's schedule as we used to. So next week might just be me and the baby here. We'll see where that goes. Until then, we will say adios, everybody. Go enjoy some baseball. Talk to you soon.